I don't know if you could tell, but it's a little bit gross and rainy outside. Howdy y'all, Ducky here, aka the Murdoch, and we're back in this video with another something. A TFYTC homework assignment. I spent pretty much all day yesterday in costume. Luckily enough for me, my costume was just clothes, and if you're a wrestling fan, hopefully you get this. I guess I'm feeling a little bit low energy today. I haven't gotten prettied up, hence the floppy hair. The rain has started to pass, but it's still pretty wet outside, so I'm not really into the idea of running around with my camera like I normally would for these things. It is pretty important to me to make these things as creative as possible, but I guess I'm just not really feeling it today. So, the homework assignment. Knockoffs, third-party figures. I guess it's kind of like fan fiction. It's not really for me, but it's perfectly fine for other people. Mostly. As I do a lot of the time, I have to ponder Ray on this one. Ray was probably the first person that introduced the idea to me that you might not want third-party figures in your collection. Although, to be honest, before him I wasn't really too aware of third-party figures. Compared to a lot of members of this community, I'm probably not one of the more educated people on this subject. However, I guess if I'm being honest, I'm not really the biggest fan of knockoffs. They don't really offend me or anything, but the times that I find them to be the most acceptable is when we know Hasbro Takara, they're not going to give us a specific figure. For example, the only knockoff I've ever bought was the iGear Lightning, which is of course the knockoff version of Thundercracker. Obviously Takara had their own version, but at the time that was somewhere between $300 and $400 I think, and Hasbro had no intention of releasing the figure. At least when I contacted Hasbro, they told me that they had no intention. And so I figured, well, I still wanted that in my lineup, so I went ahead and bought the iGear version, which at the time, even though it was very much a knockoff mold, it was retooled to be better because this was well before the current Secret mold that we have now. So that one definitely fit in my lineup, and I found it to be a perfectly reasonable purchase. With other third-party figures, it seems that the intention is to do original molds of other characters, and I don't really have much of a problem with this. For the most part, I don't really think that the third-party companies making those new molds for established characters is really cutting into much of the pie that Hasbro Takara need to make to stay profitable or whatever. And I think in the end, even the knockoffs probably aren't really hurting them too much. Or probably at all, maybe not even in a measurable way, which is probably why they don't really seem to crack down on these other companies, at least not as far as I know. For the record though, on knockoffs, I don't find it justifiable just because Hasbro Takara has so much, and it's probably not even a measurable amount, to go steal their molds and then turn them around and retool them into your own to make a quick buck. Just because they're wealthy, it doesn't justify stealing from them. I haven't seen the charts of profits and losses if they exist, but I have to imagine they're a pretty small portion because you have to consider the fact that we happen to be a vocal minority. Most of our sales aren't going to be coming from people like us, and I feel like a lot of people who are getting those third-party figures are often probably getting both versions anyhow, so it's probably not really cutting into Hasbro's profits at all. So, in the end, I guess, knockoffs I would sort of frown on, but really, in the end, I don't think I really care a whole lot. And for third-party figures, if they're making original molds and they're doing all their own engineering and all that, I don't really have the biggest problem with that because they're not really stealing as directly from Hasbro. I guess that pretty much covers my thoughts on knockoffs and third-party figures. But if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you're not subscribed and you want to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. As I always say, it makes me feel like I accomplished something. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.